us up. Coming out with it, it's Stanley. Didn't find much room at all as he'll go out of bounds at the 12. First down for the offense. The toss to the outside. What a nifty run there to pick up the first down. The Utes are in the hurry up. Here they're trying to get it to the edge. Forges ahead, picks up about 3 to the 29. After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line 2nd and 7. They'll run it from the gun. Still on his feet at the 40. And they'll finally catch up to him, but not before a big chunk of yardage is picked up.
I think it's really important for this offense. They get this guy going early in the game, and they're doing a nice job of that right now. Remember, he's the kind of running back who gets better as the game goes on. That's a really good omen for this offense, considering his success now early.
And the Utes will line it up on 1st and 10. Trying to beat him to the left. And a good, solid pickup before the defense cuts him down. After the productive first down play, it's 2nd and 6. Looking downfield, it's Rising. Makes his connection. That is exactly what you're looking for when you talk explosive plays. The defense finally able to make the stop. They'll try to get outside. That play just never had a chance. They knock him down for a loss of 5. They'll try to make up for that last one on 2nd and 15. He's looking to throw. Shoots it to the left. Makes the grab. Takes it to the house. Touchdown, Utah! You want to talk about a great way to start the game and set the tone early.
It's so nice to have a quarterback just get himself into the game, get himself established. You make a couple throws, you lead your offense down the field, you score right off the bat. Could not have been a better start for that QB.
Wide receiver shows motion. They'll go to the air. And it's caught, and they have an 8-0 lead. About to kick it away after scoring a touchdown. Fair catch called for and made. Offense set on 1st down. They'll run it to the right. Picks up a useful 5-yard chunk out to the 30-yard line.
Hey, 5 to 6 yards a pop. I don't know if you guys are really good at math, but that usually equals a first down every couple carries. So don't forget about the run game. Keep them honest, pound that rock.
There on 1st down, it's 2nd and 5. He'll try it again. Just ran him over. And he's tripped up, but not before picking up the first down. No matter who's been leading the program, Miami always wants to be able to run the ball with some physicality.
It starts everything. The line of scrimmage starts everything. That attitude starts everything. And the U is known for attitude. And when they play physical, they've got great teams.
Fast motion from the offense. Handoff to the single running back. Pretty good effort on that one to work his way up to the 42.
And that's a really nice play. It's impressive. When it's first down, the defense thinks you might be running the football. You still can line up. You can get some movement at the point of attack and find a little crease for your running back.
Solid pickup of 4 on first down and 2nd and 6. They'll see if they can find some running room on the right here. Creating some space, getting just enough good blocking, and they've got it up to the 47-yard line. They'll try to run for it. That'll be enough for a first down as he crosses the 50 and gets it to the 48.
Hard to imagine this is only their first drive of the game, but their defense was on the field for virtually an entire quarter. So, guys, there's a lot of pressure on this offense here to convert this third down so their defense can stay on the sideline and get their win back.
And they'll make the stop, and we are headed to the end of the first period.
That's the end of the first quarter. What's the score? Utah 8, Miami 0.
Second down here as they go back to work after the break. The give to the right. And they'll wrestle him to the ground after a short gain.
Oh, man, there's some big hitting going on in the trenches right now. This defense, they take a lot of pride in stopping the run. Let's keep our eye on them throughout the course of the game and see if they can contain this running attack.
They have work in front of them on 3rd and short from the 42. Receivers telling the quarterback what they see. Dropping back, it's Ward. Going for it all. Oh, and he dropped it. He had a touchdown right in his hands and couldn't hang on. It'll be 4th down.
This is a point where you just got to be able to focus. And the critical down and distances in this game, like that 3rd down right there, when it's a good throw, you got to make the catch. You got to be able to make that play.
Maybe just a shade out of their field goal range, so they'll leave the offense out there on 4th down. Touch pass on the jet sweep. He's out of bounds, but not before picking up enough for the first down.
You think about when you hit those guys on the move, man, he's already flying so fast, and I got to adjust my angle as a DB and make sure I keep outside contained, and it's a really easy play to run to get positive yards, especially in a situation like that when you're looking for the first down. You run that play, you get it. Nice, easy breezy.
That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball. Running back goes in motion. Quick pass on the fly motion.
Well, I love the aggressive nature of the defense on that play. Everybody playing with eye discipline. They saw the pre-snap motion. They knew who had the football. And you saw guys play with excellent instinct, running downhill and making a tackle.
They line up with some serious work to do if they want to convert this one. The inside handoff. And sure, tackling there to keep him from getting to the first down marker. And the Canes will hustle to the line. Quarterback will audible. On 4th down, going to the air. Quickly out to the tight end. He will step out of bounds, but not before the big pickup and a first down for this offense.
Well, it's a heck with being conservative, right? I mean, that essentially would have just been a chip-shot field goal of where they were on that fourth down, but they decided to go for it, throw it. They're looking for 6. They're going for a touchdown. They are being aggressive.
Trying to cap this drive with the pass. Caught near the sideline. It's Restrepo. And he'll step out of bounds after a very productive play. We've reached the 2-minute warning, and we have ourselves a ball game, and they have a chance to take the lead here before the half. Going to work on second down in the red zone, and still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. Looking for a crease. It's Fletcher. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple.
At this part of the field in the red zone, offensively, you're bringing all these tight ends in the game. You'd like to be more physical at the point of attack. That's why you're bringing the big bodies in, but they couldn't get it done up front, and as a result, it's a negative play.
Here on third down. Wide receiver now comes in motion. Dropping back, it's Ward. Trying to get to it. And he was hit just as he released it, and it falls to the turf.
3rd and short in college football today, you see so much more pass than you used to. The offense stays aggressive, and I think they stay aggressive because they know they're in field goal range. They got that 3 in their back pocket.
Between the uprights, it's good. Boy, they want to get this back right now, lining up for an onside kick. Looks as if the hands team will be able to recover the ball.
We're only in the first half, and I don't think anybody had onside kick in the second quarter on their bingo card. They were trying to catch the opponent off guard, but it didn't work. Now let's find out what this offense can do. You've got to make them pay for gambling.
They'll run the toss. And how about that interior defense stuffing the run for nothing? The Utes racing to the line in the hurry-up. Right back to the well. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3.
When you play defensive end, it's all about getting off the football. You can tell, gets off the football really fast, gets in the backfield, gets the running back before he knows what hit him. What a play by the defensive end.
A 3rd and long coming up here. Looking downfield, and he needs a bunch. Fires to the tight end. He's all the way down to the 27-yard line, and they are threatening. The offense calls a timeout to stop the clock. And the Utes have it with a 1st and 10. He wants to throw. Got the big tight end on the corner route. He stopped just short of the goal line at the 1. An explosive play has him set up. The offense calls timeout. It's the second one they've used this half. The Utes will try to punch it in on 1st and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. And the defense sold out to stop the run, and they do here on 1st down. He's going to the right, looking for a path to the end zone. Going right back to the well, and this time he finds water. Gets it into the end zone for the touchdown. And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. So that scoring drive took only 6 plays. And they capped it off with a 1-yard punt. Not going to risk a return here. He'll make the fair catch. Just a few seconds remaining here as they try to put something up before halftime. Quarterback quick pass to the receiver. And he's a real nowhere man tackled in this no-gain land. A timeout is called as this offense tries to find a way to get more points on the board before the half. Touch pass on the right. Fighting off the defender. He'll be brought down, and that's the final play of the half. And that'll bring us to the end of the first half as we head to the studio for halftime.
Utah 15, Miami 3.
And the Utes will kick it away to start the second half. No return coming. He'll call for the fair catch. Here comes the Hurricane offense looking to gather a little more strength. Trailing by a couple of scores, they'd like to generate some confidence here early in the third quarter.
Down 2 possessions.
He lost it high and deep down the left side. And it's picked off. Looking for more room. And they capitalized not only on the pick, but on the great return to improve this field position.
That's a bit of a gut punch for the offense because you went in at halftime, you made your adjustments, you're feeling good about your game plan coming here in the second half, and right away you throw an interception to the defense.
And he'll find enough running room to get it just short of midfield at the 49. The Utes in the hurry-up. Motion from the offense. Wants to throw. It's rising. Fires to the right. Pulls it in. Really nice pickup on that one as they get it to the 36. It'll be first down. From the gun, running back gets to give. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Lost 1 on that last one. It's 2nd and 11. He's looking to throw. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete.
And finally, the defense is able to get some pressure on this quarterback. They had been trying all game long different ways to affect him. Weren't able to get there. But on that play, because of the pressure, it affected his accuracy. That's why the ball falls in.
Third down conversions are a huge stat, and this one would be a doozy if they can pull it off. Linebackers trying to create some confusion. On third down, going up top. On the run, still looking. And he makes the catch inside the 15.
That's a beautiful pass and catch. I love the job the quarterback does manipulating the defense with his eyes. He froze that safety, and that allowed his receiver more room to work his route.
They'll dial up the run on 1st and goal. Into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Utes!
Wow, this offense, they have a lot of faith in this running back. Knowing if they get down in this area of the field, he can get it done and he can answer the bell. 2 rushing touchdowns already for this offense.
Fielded in the end zone. It's Johnson. He stopped short of the 20 at the 19 and probably wishes he'd just taken the touchback. That Miami offense back onto the field. Well, the good news about this drive, Jesse, it can't go worse than last time through a pick on the first play.
No, it certainly can't. I think one good way, David, to help your quarterback turn the page is just find him an easy completion here and let him get back into the win.
Yeah, or find him an easy handoff. Just hand the football off, maybe get the ground game going, maybe jumpstart this offense a little bit.
Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. Looking for a man. It's Ward. Firing to the right, complete. And the defense settled in to stop that one for a short gain. And the Canes moving quickly to the line. On on 3rd and long, trying to have a big completion here. A beautifully placed ball to the outside and the toe drag for the big pickup. And they just want to give this guy a chance to make a play on 3rd down, and more times than not, he is going to deliver.
He's so good, so efficient, such a good route runner, got the speed, got the complete game, so you definitely want to highlight him, and especially on those downs that matter the most. If something's not open quick underneath, find him, he'll make those contested catches.
Tip ball, put it up for grabs, and I thought he had it, but somehow it slithered through his fingers.
Man, that's a couple bad throws. Last possession obviously ends in an interception by this quarterback, and now you throw another one, in harm's way. You got to make sure you're throwing to the open guy. Make sure you're taking care of that football. You can't have any more turnovers.
Nice job reeling in that catch. And listen, when you say Miami Hurricane football to me, I think about burners at the receiver position. Michael Irvin, Andre Johnson, Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne, who I played with in the Senior Bowl. These guys could not be covered one-on-one. And this dude here in this offense today, he causes the same kind of problems. Really, really good route runner. He always seems to get open.
From the red zone, looking for a space. And just left that pass short. Not enough juice on that one. Operating in the red zone here on 2nd down. Couldn't connect on 1st down. Now back to the air. He's got his man. Can't quite cross the plane to get the 6, but they'll have the 1st down.
That receiver found the open space in the zone coverage, and as a defense, honestly, you just throw your hands up on that because they covered it pretty well. It was just a good play call and really nice execution.
And the Hurricanes trying to pay off the threat on 1st and goal. Trying to slam in. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple. And the D deny them on 2nd and goal. Tries again to get it in. Just hammer it with this running back again, and he noses his way into the end zone. Well, the offense shows some life here and cuts into the lead with that score.
And, man, they needed it. They had to have something to go right. This is still down. This is a great start to get back in this ballgame.
And the extra point was good. So a drive there of 82 yards and close the deal with a 3-yard touchdown run. They're really spinning that wheel of fortune here. 2-possession game going for the onside kick here in the 3rd. Utah has it back on the offense coming onto the field. After standing on the sideline and watching that long touchdown drive, they really need to put something together to give their defense a rest.
And that's a real thing, man. Like, you play a lot of plays, you get worn out, you need a chance to go decompress on the sideline, get some oxygen. Palmer, now it's on this offense.
Yeah, this is the definition of complementary football because it's a two-pronged.
Oh, look out! Slippery slide, find his way and ran away from the crowd into the end zone. Touchdown, Utah!
I love the execution on that play. Great blocking up front just to get the ball carrier an opportunity in the 2nd level of the defense. And then at that point, it was make a guy miss and use the speed. That was a perfectly executed play.
Now a 2-point conversion attempt coming up. Trying to barge their way in. He's not going to make it. Stop short of the goal line, and they are unable to extend this lead any further.
That keeps the score. Utah 28, Miami 10.
Lining up to cover the kick after that touchdown drive.
Set to kick it away.
He'll call for the fair catch here. starts from their own 25-yard line. Wants to throw on first down. Makes the catch. It's Johnson. Still on his feet at the 45. He's run out of bounds, but not before turning in a big pickup and moving the sticks for a first down.
That's the end of the third quarter. With the score, Utah 28, Miami 10.
A new set of downs after the completion. Quarterback reacting to what the D is showing. He'll come out throwing on first down. Grabbed in the middle, it's Johnson. And just a short and safe pass play, they pick up a few.
And defensively, this is exactly what you want, right? You got the big lead, so you can play big zone coverages. Just keep the ball in front of you. Keep your eye on the quarterback, rally to the football, gang tackle, and you're going to win this game.
How about getting the foot down on that throw for the big completion? To the air, it's Ward. And the physical play there forces the incompletion on first down.
Well, the defense really stepped up in this game. They knew they had to slow down this passing attack. They knew they had some matchups they were going to have to win one-on-one. They've been able to do that, and as a result, they haven't allowed 200 passing yards in this game.
He's looking for a man on second down. Setting up the screen. And it's pretty obvious there was a big hole in that screen, and the defense ran right through it.
Screen pass just not working there. You figure at this point of the game, trailing, you're going to have to be more aggressive and take some shots. You usually run screen passes when you think there's going to be a blitz, but because the defense has the lead, they're just sitting back and playing big zones.
They keep attacking through the air. And a missed opportunity on third down as the defense knocks it free, and fourth down is coming up.
The offense came into this game knowing that for them to win, they were going to have to make some big plays throwing the football. That just has not been the case. Here in the fourth quarter, they've been held to less than 200 passing yards, and that's really the story of the game, guys.
On fourth down, they'll pass for it. Fires left. Finds his man enough for the first.
That's a great example of the receiver knowing exactly where the first down marker is. He got the depth he needed to get, so once he was able to make the catch, he already knew he had it. Now, a fresh set of downs.
The receivers often will run their route based on a side adjustment. Looking to pass inside the red zone. Off the deflection, missed a great chance to force the turnover. Instead, it'll be second down. The Hurricanes want to move quickly. A jet sweep pass. And he's brought down after a nice gain.
This offense has a lot of different ways they can attack you, and you're going to see the entire playbook at work in this game. Throwing it, running it, and getting guys the ball out on the perimeter. Great job.
The Canes have it in scoring position on first and goal. And he's loose, and he'll take it to the house. Touchdown, Hurricane!
And the offense continues to run the football. A second rushing touchdown from the running back. The offensive line paving holes. Continue to feed this man the ball.
And he knocks the extra point through the uprights. They are running out of time here. They need to get the ball back. They'll line up for the onside kick. And a few anxious moments, but the hands team is able to fall on it. The Utah offense returns ready to go back on the attack. Now they need to put something together to answer that last score.
There's a lot of pressure, too, on this offense to have to execute at a high level. They've got to score points, David, but they can't go too fast because their defense right now is tired.
And I think that's the difficulty being a play caller. Like, I have to balance all of those things. My defense is a little bit tired. I can't put it on the field, but I got to be aggressive because this is a back-and-forth type game, so a lot to process and think about.
Ordinarily on 2nd and 10, you might look past, but here you just want to keep that clock moving. So close to paying off. The tip really had it in his hands, but it falls incomplete. Wide out in motion. Looking to throw, it's Rising. Gets it out quickly. And he's not going to make it. The defense denying him the first down. On 4th down, looking for the completion. Makes a grab enough for the first. Brought to the ground, but not before getting enough for the first down. The metrics tell you so often, go ahead, go for it on 4th down, and it pays off there.
That just shows you the head coach's confidence in his quarterback to go out on a critical 4th down and execute.
Quick timeout call by the offense after the play.
Timeout, Utah.
And the Utes will have it 1st and 10. On the run, it's Stanley. They pick up half of it. It'll be 2nd and 5.
I think you have to like what you see if you're the coaching staff here. Your offense is on the field, and it looks like you got a pretty good drive going, and you're just going to try and keep this thing marching, keep the clock ticking. You've got a really nice lead here late. Just want to find ways to keep the chains moving. They're doing that.
The give out of the gun. They get him on the ground, but not before he gets enough for the first down. The Utes want to crank the tempo. The give to the back. Shakes off the defender. And they get him on the ground, and that's going to do it. Ball game is over. Sometimes it's just not your day. Things just didn't work, and that seemed to be the case here.
They didn't get the W. They didn't do enough. But now you start to think about what could I have done differently? What do I need to become more offensively? Defensively, what can I morph into to make those extra plays, Jesse? That might be the difference in the next game that I play.
Yeah, David, they just need a little bit more. They need a little bit better effort next week. They're going to need better preparation this week in practice. There's no doubt this team has a lot of talent, but we just need a little bit more to ensure that this doesn't happen next week.
So that's going to do it for us. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, I'm Reese Davis saying so long. This has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.